what's up? Tasha checking in with another video, y'all. New show alert. New show alert, y'all. This video is going to be a review of Love is Blind Season 6, Episode 1. Now, if it's your first time joining me at the Redefine Me channel, go ahead and like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Okay? Y'all already know when I first go live, it might be some a background movement, a little stuff that gotta get taken care of so we can make sure that we look good. So anyway, yeah, new show alert, y'all. I decided to pick up Love is Blind, and I was going to just do like episodes 1 through 6 and give y'all like a review of just the couples and everything. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go episode by episode because of the fact that I didn't want to miss anything important. I got a couple of pages of notes. So I was like, I'm just going to do it episode by episode. Now I'm kind of late because today they already did 1 through 6 and the show comes on Netflix. And now today they dropped 7 through whatever they're going to go to. So I haven't watched that yet. But I'm going to go ahead and give y'all the review of episode 1. I'm probably going to come on tomorrow and do episode 2 so we can get caught up to episode 6. Hopefully by, if I give it to you, today is 1. 2 is Thursday, Friday, 3. I ain't doing 1 on Saturday. So maybe by Wednesday, we should be caught up with all the Love is Blind. Okay, so let's get started, y'all. I hope y'all are having a fabulous Wednesday. If y'all like what's going on with your throat, Tasha, yeah, Georgia weather is like a roller coaster. Like today, it is warm outside. And because it's warm outside, it's warmer in my house. So y'all, I had to go and turn on the air a little bit to give it some type of circulation up in here, you know. And so because of that, my voice be up and down. But we gonna get through it. God is good. I ain't worried about it. I'm alive. I'm in good health. I was supposed to still be asleep. I was going to do this review maybe around 6 p.m., but ain't do it. Hey, Olivia Blee. I think I'm saying that right. Welcome to the live. How you doing, love? Let's get into Love is Blind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the hearts. So if y'all don't know what Love is Blind is, okay? Love is Blind is a reality dating show. It comes on Netflix, okay? They've already shot seasons 1 through 6. The show is that you put strangers together in 2 separate rooms. So say there's a man in one room, there's a woman in another room, okay? So y'all put 2 strangers together and they have conversation without seeing each other. Hence the name Love is Blind, right? They get 10 days to make a connection with this person, okay? 10 days to make a connection with the person. So they meet in there, they go on dates with the people. Sometimes they will set up activities in each other's rooms and do the activities with each other as if they are on a date, right? So they do this for 10 days with the hope that they will make a connection with a person enough that the man will ask the woman through the wall without seeing her to marry him. I know what y'all thinking. Sounds crazy, right? Do y'all think that Love is Blind? I personally do not believe that love is blind, and I'm going to tell y'all why. I believe that in order to love somebody, it has to be a total package. You have to be able to make a physical connection, a mental connection, and a spiritual connection. Not trying to sound superficial as if it's all about looks. However, I don't know anybody that does not want to be attracted to the person that they are in love with or that they have a connection with. That's a part of life, right? But they came up with this show to see if love is really blind. So let's get into it. That's the gist of the show, what it is. So it's hosted by Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey. They are married. Remember, Nick Lachey was a part of, was he a part of NSYNC? It was either NSYNC or 98 Degrees. Drop in the comments, my 90s kids, if y'all know which group he was a part of. Now, it was either NSYNC or 98 Degrees. I want to say it was NSYNC, but I'm not sure. But anyway, he was a singer in the group NSYNC back in the day. And so they host the show, and we're going to get into episode 1, okay? Let me see. My only issue with the show is that they don't have enough diversity on the woman's side. Now, you get to the men's living quarters, because they both have different living quarters, men in one, women in the other. You get to the men living quarters, you got white, black, Asian, Hispanic. I mean, any race or ethnicity that you could think of is in the men's living quarters, okay? You get to the women's living quarters, you have a variety, but it's more white women that outweighs any other ethnicity in their living quarter. You do have black, you got a little bit of black, a little bit of Asian, a little bit of Spanish. You have that in the women's living quarter, but the white women in the living quarter outweighs the majority of the ethnicity that's in the women's quarter. So I feel like Love is Blind is off balance with the ethnicity and the picks of people, because we really want to see if love really is blind. What I want to see out of this show for real is for a man and a woman to be talking. They have a connection. They fall for each other in these rooms. Sorry, y'all. I feel like something's in my eye. They fall for each other in these rooms, and then after they fall for each other and the man asks him to marry, he asks her to marry him, they then are able to see each other for a moment. After that, they do a reveal. I want a real reveal. I want either for it to be a big man, like big, I'm talking about like 400 pounds big, and maybe a thinner woman or something, and then open the reveal and really see if love is blind. Or have two big people or something, do the reveal, really see if love is blind. Or maybe someone that's really short, or someone that's, I don't know, something. This is not realistic, because I feel like, so really see if love is really blind, you have to consider a totality of different situations, right? But this show always chooses the cute, slim, curvy a little bit type of person. Thank you for the hearts. They always choose that type of person, man and woman. We never get a real, and these are real people, but we never get a real person, somebody with a gut or whatever. But we have had some curvy women on here. We're going to get into it. So let's get started. We're going to start off with Chelsea and Trevor. Now, they ended up having a connection later on in the show, but let's start with them, okay? And if I look down, I'm looking at my notes. When Chelsea met Trevor, she wanted to know 5 things that made him smile, right? Trevor is a Caucasian male. He has a mullet, y'all. The mullet is a short mullet. He has it shaved off a little bit right here. The mullet goes around, right? Trevor, though, is a sweet guy. He's a muscle guy, y'all. He got muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles. You can tell that the gym is his friend. So Trevor is a really nice guy, and Chelsea asks him, what makes you smile? But he also is kind of cheesy a little bit, and I feel like that's maybe why she did not end up choosing him a few episodes down, and we're going to talk about it. So she said what makes him smile. He said dogs, sunny days, butterflies, love movies, and a fresh cut lawn. She asked for 5 things that make him smile. I said, child, dogs, sunny days, butterflies, a love movie, and a fresh cut lawn. I said, oh, that sounds cute, but let's get into it. Hola, hola, hola. Is it Marjorie Salado? I'm probably saying your name all wrong, but hola, ¿cómo estás? I know a little bit of Spanish, just a little bit. Hola, hola. So, Chelsea is one of the curvier women that they have decided they have decided to put on the show. You can tell that Chelsea is a little thicker girl, which is nothing wrong with that because she wears a lot of clothing throughout the episodes that hides her tummy. And I get it. If you are a plus size chick or a thicker girl, the last thing you want to do is have your belly, protruding too much. You want to wear clothes that are a little looser, that give a little bit, that hide your belly. I get it. I get it. And sometimes you don't want to wear no waist trainer or no tightener or nothing like that. Okay. So then we get, they ask each other what makes each other smile. Chelsea gives some answers about a Bud Light and a sunset and all this other stuff. I didn't really write hers down because I felt like it wasn't important. Okay. And I'm only going to give important things. So if I miss something and you watch the show, it is what it is. So then Chelsea goes on to meet Jimmy. Jimmy got sold. Jimmy got sold. Jimmy got sold. She goes on to meet Jimmy, right? Okay. Jimmy is from a small town in North Carolina. It's called Redmond or Red something. I didn't write it down, but he's from a small town in North Carolina. They're getting to know each other. Chelsea is from LA. Okay, we all know California, LA. She's from there. Okay. Jimmy is in software sales, and when I look down, because I took notes on the show, so I don't miss nothing that I want to say to y'all. So Jimmy is in software sales. She asks him what he does for a living. He asks her. She is a flight attendant. Jimmy says one of his hold on. We're gonna get to that. Okay. She is a flight attendant. We're gonna stop there. Then Jimmy goes on a date with Jessica. Now the first day they have to date about 15 people. So their first day is really like a speed dating, okay? And if y'all don't know what speed dating is, that means a man and a woman sit across from each other, and they normally have them at restaurants or whatever it is, but they sit across from each other and they talk to each other for maybe 5 minutes. And the person that's over the event rings a bell when it's time for them to move on. The women stay seated and the men move down. So you move to another guy and you have a conversation with him. I went to a speed dating event one time, and I might do a story time about it because it was quite interesting. I think I was like 30 something when I went, and it was very interesting. But anyway, that's the first day. It's kind of like speed dating. So Jimmy goes on a date with Jessica. Okay, Jessica says she is a Capricorn. Jimmy says he's a November baby, a Scorpio. If you believe in that. On the first meeting, they are saying they feel something about each other. So their first date, they're saying it's something about you. It's something about you. And I'm just like, really? And see, the thing about this show is that they get 10 days to get to know these people and fall in love with them. And I'm just thinking to myself, no, you're falling in infatuation with this person. You're not in love with a person in 10 days. Maybe you could say, there are some people that fall for people quick, right? But I just feel like real love, you have to pull back the layers of what love means. Drop in the comments if y'all can tell me what love means to you. There's layers to love, that unconditional love. That love that no matter what, you're still going to love this person. And in this show in 10 days, they haven't got to that point. I'm sorry. So moving on. Jessica has a 10-year-old daughter, y'all. And keep that in your back pocket and your mental, right? I feel like she should have led with that. When she was getting to know Jimmy in the pods, WH. Oh, I think I know what that is. Mary Marjorie, I don't know. Salagdo. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm so sorry if I'm not. I hate getting names wrong. But I'm going to call you Mary. That's what I could see. So, Jessica has a 10-year-old daughter. She should have led with that. When Jimmy is getting to know her and she is giving what she does for a living, what she likes, the daughter should have been in the list of getting to know her. Your child is something that you need to tell somebody right away. Do he have to meet her daughter right away? Absolutely not. I'm one of those people that feel like unless it's something serious, unless the man is going to be in your life, unless he is showing seriousness about you, then introduce the child. But If y'all not going to take it to the next step, he don't need to meet the child, but he at least needs to know. All right, so then we get down to, hold on, y'all. Did I skip? Okay, we get to Matthew. Mary says, love is patient. Yeah, come through with the scriptures, Mary. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. I know the scripture, girl. Come through with the scripture, Mary. Tell us what love is. I'm telling you, because that's exactly what it is. And if all of these people on this show cannot say that at the end of 10 days about a person, it's not love. And you have to put in work in order to say those things. Thank you, Mary. That was good. We needed that. Yes, that is exactly what the Bible says love is, right? So we get to Matthew, y'all. Matthew is weird. Matthew is weird. He reminds me of a Clark Kent type of guy. If y'all know Superman's alter ego was Clark Kent. He wears the glasses. He got the dark hair. He really does embody a Clark Kent. Thank you, Mary. Yes, love is all of those things. So he does embody a Clark Kent. But he's weird. So he comes into the room in the pods and he is dating Jessica. And they call the rooms the pods. So if I refer to pods, that's what they're dating in. So Matthew comes in and he says, I have a few questions. He's so weird. And he asks Jessica to pick a number. And he, let me see. Yeah, so he wants to ask the questions, but he doesn't want to receive an answer from Jessica. So he asked Jessica to pick a number, and she picked the number, and he asked the questions. I think her question was, what do you think takes to make it in a relationship, or something he asked, right? And so she gave her answer. Then she says, what about you, Matthew? Matthew says, I was just going to ask the questions. I don't want to answer the questions. And I'm thinking to myself, say what now? So how are you supposed to get to know this woman if you do not want to answer your own questions that you're asking her? I didn't have a problem with the questions. Maybe he wanted to break the ice or whatever and stay on track, but he didn't want to respond to any of the questions. So when she asked him about the question, he gets up and walks out. After she asked him, I was like, what in the world? So then we get down to Matthew. He goes on another date with Sarah Ann. So Sarah Ann, he asks her a question. He said, pick a number. She picks a number. He asks her the question. She starts to respond, and Sarah Ann begins to talk, and you see how the editing is going like she's been talking for a minute. After a while, Matthew closed up his book and got up and walked out, and then she was there talking to a wall. But she was just like, thank God he left. Because he wasn't probably giving any type of conversation, so she just had to keep the conversation going. But Sarah Ann, you should have read the room. If somebody's not responding to you in conversation, you need to pause and be like, you know what, I don't know what's going on with this person, but yeah, I don't want to talk anymore. Or at least call their name and check in on them or something. So he gets up and walks out on Sarah. I said, Matthew is weird. So then we get to Matthew again. He ends up having a date with Amber. He finally doesn't walk out on somebody, y'all. He says that he likes Amber's energy and he compares himself to Superman with her. I kind of saw that too a little bit. But the thing that's different, Matthew, from you and Superman is that Superman at least has some form of personality. He at least has something to get Lois Lane, you know what I'm saying? But Matthew does not have that. And I think he was kind of nervous. He maybe didn't know what he was getting from this show. And so I think that's why his personality was so wound so tight. And we'll see how his personality kind of shows up. So now Matthew gets down to meeting AD. Now, Matthew, keep in mind, he's a Caucasian male. He has glasses on. He has dark hair. He does kind of resemble a little kind of buffer Clark Kent. AD is an African American woman. I'm I'm gonna tell y'all what I think about AD probably a little later. But she's an African American woman, but she has a suburban tone to the way she talks. Some people say I have a suburban tone to the way I talk. If you're not sure what suburban means, in the African American community, sometimes they feel like you should sound a certain way, right? And so if you sound out of the box of what an African American woman should sound like, some people in our community will say that you're trying to sound white, which I think that's crazy because I don't think there's a way to talk white, but that has been something in our culture that has been going on for some years. So just to give you what a suburban tone sounds. So that's how AD sounds, and she is an African American woman. So she meets up with Matthew for their date. AD came right in the room and said, so Matthew, what you looking for? She cut through all of his questions, what he was about to do. She came right out with it. And he says, wow, you're very forward. I believe with AD because nothing she did, excuse me, y'all, I'm just kind of getting over a cold and I got this cough that's lasting for longer than it needs to. So I believe that with AD, production told Matthew to calm down. You cannot walk out on all the women. We have to get some type of content from you because she didn't do anything that made him kind of relax. And we see with her, he relaxes and his personality begins to kind of show through a little bit. So he says he sees a therapist. I believe it. He also says he is a country guy. I forgot what town he said he's from, a small town. I believe that too. Maybe that's why he don't have extreme social skills. And not saying no shades to small town people, right? You can have social skills being from a small town, but it's something about when you're from a bigger city, you experience a lot more and you begin to socialize and meet all types of people and stuff. So you can deal with different avenues of people a little bit better than someone who's from a smaller town. So AD is a city girl. She's from Boston, Massachusetts. She's a city girl. AD said at the beginning of our relationship, Matthew was a little strange, the beginning of the conversation, but you've opened up because he begins to talk a little bit. He begins to laugh a little bit. And she was like, you're cool. You're a cool dude. I can see that you're sweet. AD feels like she said to him, I believe you're going to shock me. And y'all, as we go on in the next episodes, oh, he is going to shock her. AD said she in her confessionals, she said she came on the show because she wants something genuine. She wants to stop dating these ball players and players and all of that because AD is now a real estate agent, but AD used to be a cheerleader and a dancer. Now, if y'all watch the show, y'all know AD has a body. Not going to take that from her. She's slimmer, but she's thicker. She has a booty back there. She has not that much belly up the front, kind of small waist, you know, and then has the boobs and stuff. So she's a curvier woman, beautiful body woman. Not so much in the face. I just feel like her face is just average, but I feel like she would look more attractive in her face if she took off her lashes. She has these really thick lashes on that is killing me. If she took off them lashes and then she has a weave, I feel like she needs to take the weave out. The weave is puffed up back here and something's going on up front. I would have preferred she just did braids or she just let her natural hair just hang out, right? But she decided to go with these eyelashes and this weave, and it's not doing her justice. Yeah, the weave of the eyelashes is horrible. So then we get down to Clay and AD. All right, y'all. Clay and AD. This is one person that she made a connection with. Now, keep in mind, later on in the episodes, I will tell y'all more. But AD made a connection with Matthew, and she makes a connection with Clay, the person we're about to talk about now. So, they get in the pods, and they're about to start dating, right? AD, Clay comes in, he says, AD all day, and she's all chuckling like, yeah, all day. I'm like, girl, just because he put together all day out of AD, you excited. So Clay said, you know, he want to give her his radio voice, and he puts on this radio sounding voice from like maybe the late 80s, early 90s. And she is just all like, oh, okay. and all of that. He asks her how old she is. She is 32. He is 30. Now, everybody knows that women mature faster than men, right? So this is why I feel like in the end, their relationship is not going to work. Clay is still a player type dude. He wanted to get on this show to get exposure on TV, and that is it. I believe he also wanted to get on the show to meet a woman that is attractive enough for him to have sex with, and then he wants to get off the show. He wants to build his social media platform, and that's just about it. And that is my opinion on Clay. I could be totally wrong, but from what I'm seeing, because I've already watched all the episodes up till 6, so what I'm seeing, this dude is not genuine, and I do not believe that their relationship is going to last. That is my opinion. Um, he said he did not want, when he found out he was about to turn 30, he wanted to stay 29. That's a red flag for me. Getting older is a rite of passage. That's where wisdom is coming in. That's, and AD even said this. She said the best is yet to come. It only gets better from here. And I'm going to tell y'all, I am now 41 years old. Y'all, when I tell y'all I am the happiest spiritually, mentally, physically, even though I got some things I still want to work on physically, but I am the happiest that I have been in my whole life. Not saying I haven't had happy moments or I wasn't happy before, but baby, when she said it goes up from here as far as you get older, I agree. I totally agree, because your 20s and maybe your early 30s are for you to figure yourself out, make some mistakes, have some fun, because some of the stuff you get into in your 20s ain't that fun. Your 20s is for the mistakes, and the early 30s, that's for the mistakes. Once you get to like 40, you should kind of be in the groove. You should kind of be figuring life out. Things should kind of make sense. So getting older is a rite of passage. It's great. So when Clay said he did not want to leave his 20s, I said, Playboy, red flag, it's going to be a problem. All right, so moving on. Clay is on, hold on. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, Clay on the wrong show. I believe Clay need to be on Married at First Sight, because Clay said he said how in his confessionals, how can he fall for someone without seeing them? Mary says age is just a number. Absolutely. It is just a number. It really, really is. I just feel like as you grow older, you learn some things, you maneuver through life, and at every age and level, you learn something that grows you into the person that you're going to become. And Clay is not ready to drop it. And most men are like that. Like I said, women mature faster than men. And I think it's because we go through our woman cycle and everything, and that grows us up a little quicker. And so when you have a woman that's 32, like she is, she's thinking on a 32 mindset most times, but she probably is. If you have a man that's 30, with his age, he's 30, but in his mind, he's still trapped in 25. He's still trapped in his 20s, and he's trying to sow his raw oats, so, and that's just the way life is. Women just tend to mature a little quicker. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. You do have women that seem to not mature as quicker, but for the most part, that's a going rule that women mature quicker. And I think because our bodies change due to our woman time of the month, and then we can have children, and we just, it just is what it is. Okay, so moving on, he says he wants to see somebody. He don't know how he can fall in love with somebody. I said this is not going to work out well for Clay. I don't know how. So we move on. Day one is over. They finished day one. They remember on day one they had to date 15 people in these pods. They finished day one. The men and the women, they go back to their different quarters, and they're up there talking to each other, comparing notes in their book. They're like, yeah, I like this one, whatever. What else happened? AD is happy because, okay, AD is happy, she says, because of Clay. She said Clay came up with all day, hey, let me say your name right. Jemiah, I hope I said it right. Jemiah Talks. What's up, girl? Welcome to the live reviewing Love is Blind, child. So AD says she is happy because Clay came up with all day. I was like, okay, he used the A and he used a D and he made up a word. I mean, he didn't invent the cure for cancer, AD. Why are you so excited? So she's excited about that. Then she says to the other women in the women's quarters that she made a connection with Matt. And all the women are like, you made a connection with Matt? Stale, stiff Matt? Asking questions like you're on an interview, Matt? Walking out the room, Matt? You made a connection with him? They was like, oh, okay, girl. So the next day they wake up, they're all cooking breakfast in different quarters, right? And this is episode 1, y'all, and I'm going to break them down by episode because it was a lot that I took out of it that I want to give y'all. So the next day they go, they're making breakfast, they're getting ready for day 2. Then we meet Jeremy. Now, Jeremy is going to be on the show too, y'all. He thinks that Matt just walks around with his shoulders shrugged up like this all the time. And when you look at Matt, he really does walk around looking like that. It's so ridiculous. And I just thought that was funny. Jeremy's trying to, break the ice with Matt. He gives him a little, bro hug to the side, and he's kind of like, trying to loosen him up. Because on the day at the end of day 1, when Matt came back in, all the men was comparing notes, talking and stuff. Matt was over there in a chair like he was studying for a test. He was studying the notes that he took from all the women, I guess. Matt was saying, I'm being intentional about this process. I'm taking notes. He was in that book a lot. He was like, I ain't got time to mingle with y'all. I ain't come here for friends. I came here to find a relationship. And I can respect that. What else? So now we get to day 2 and we get to Johnny and Amy. Now Johnny is a Caucasian male. Amy is Spanish. I believe she's Hispanic. I can't remember where she's from exactly, but Amy is Hispanic, right? Is Hispanic, and Johnny is a Caucasian male. Johnny asks her about traveling, like where is a place that you want to go to travel. Amy says, I want to go to Japan. They find out that both of them like anime. If you do not know what anime is a form of cartoon that they do in Japan. My daughter actually likes anime as well, and so they both had that in common. Neither one of them has ever left the country, right? Amy says she was born, I think she's from Barcelona. I think. I could be wrong, but I'm going to let y'all know next episode when I review it. So they both never left the country, but she was born in a different country. Let's see. So he's from New Jersey and she's from Barcelona. Okay, they talk about family. Amy said she was the only child until she was 7 years old, and she said she always wanted to have a sibling. She said that she remembers that her father would go to church and ask people to come to her birthday parties, and because she didn't have any friends because they had just got to the States, I guess, and she didn't have any friends. She said she didn't understand the language that great. It was just weird or whatever. And so Johnny says that was really, really bad. But at 7 years old, her mom and dad got pregnant, and she had a little brother, because she says she calls her brother her wish upon a star brother because she prayed that she could have a sibling, and she wanted specifically a brother because she didn't want a sister because she didn't want her to get into her clothes. So what else happened? Okay. And that was it really with them. So then we move down to AD and Clay again. We get AD and Clay on day 2. So Clay asks AD, what does AD stand for? She says it's Amber Desiree. That's her name. Her name is Amber. Clay says they call him Oh Clay. I said, this dude is just lame. I feel like Clay is lame. So then she says, oh Clay, oh Clay. She does a little Cardi B, little, rolling of the tongue that Cardi used to do. AD thinks that Clay is a ladies' man. She says that in her confessional. She said Clay is a ladies' man, but it's something about him. Then we get Matt and AD. He meets up with AD. They both now realize they have this connection, right? AD asks Matt what is his favorite music genre. Now AD tried it. Now this is Love is Blind, right? You're not supposed to know how the person looks or really what their ethnicity is. This is Love is Blind. But AD strategically said, hey Matt, what's your favorite music genre? Now I'm not saying that other ethnicities cannot like various types of music, because I do. I like a little bit of rock. There are some bands. I love Green Day. I like Aerosmith. Aerosmith has to be my favorite. I like Maroon 5. So I get it. I got a couple of groups that I like, right? I do, right? But Matt is definitely one of them people that does not have a vast majority. Like, I like all types of music, you know. So Matt says that he likes rock and instrumental, and AD felt like instrumental that is fitting because you don't need a lot of words to express yourself. So from rock and instrumental, you can kind of put in your mind that the man may be Caucasian. I'm just saying, let's keep it 100. So then he asks AD, what's your music genre? Okay, AD is going to say, oh, I like R&B, hip hop. We could stop right there. We already know who you. We already know what your ethnicity is. And she says she likes a little bit of 80s rock. Now I could get with her on that, right? Because them 80s movies like 16 Candles, Weird Science, all of those, I love them type of movies. Breakfast Club, and sometimes they have the soundtrack to them. They are really dope. Like, I do love the soft 80s rock, you know, all of that. So I can get what AD was saying about that. But you can kind of piece things together that, you know, she's black. So Matt says he got into a dance battle. He shares a story with AD. He said he got into a dance battle back in the day. I said, a dance battle, Matt. Now let's hear about this. So then Matt says he was dancing, and to win it, he did a split. And he ended up tearing his hamstring. AD was like, no, Matt. And she thought that was a little funny. And I was like, yeah, Matt, I don't know what in the world you were thinking about. AD says that she has a fear, y'all. This is her fear, and I thought it was a very fitting fear based off of her hairstyle. She says she has a fear that birds are going to land on her head and peck her brain out. First of all, most people would say, I'm afraid of drowning. I'm afraid of spiders. I'm afraid of closing spaces. She says, I'm afraid that birds are going to land on my head and peck my brain out. I said, what in the Stephen King is going on here? But because her hair is boofed up with this weave she has on, the birds probably would think it's a nest and begin to start pecking. So AD, if you don't want that to happen, girl, you might need to get a new braid pattern under your hair, braid it down some more flatter, and maybe that won't be a possibility. Moving on. We get to Jessica and Jimmy. Jessica is in the ladies' quarters, and she says that she cares about Jimmy. I said, Jessica, how could you possibly care about this guy? You went on one date with him. And unless we're seeing something different. Maybe they've been on 2 or 3 dates at this point, and they just on episode 1. I don't know. So she gets into the pods with Jimmy. They decide to get some wings. Now, them wings did look good. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. They got the wings in the different pods, and they got the sauces. And so they're trying a certain sauce. One of the sauces is spicy because Jimmy is over there like, whew, whew. He got to drink his water, everything. He was like, this is too spicy. So they're actually having a wing date. And I thought that was kind of cute. Jimmy said, it's spicing up his nose. He got to run his nose, right? Jessica said, oh my gosh, I didn't even tell you my pet peeves. How is a pet peeve somebody blowing their nose, Jessica? It's a part of human nature and a part of, like, people going to blow their nose. Like, what is your problem? So he blows his nose, and she's like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to get used to that or deal with that. Girl, ain't nobody say he was choosing you, so why would you have to get used to it? The man got to blow his nose. That shouldn't be a pet peeve for anybody, but everybody is weird and different, so hey, it could be. So, let me see. So the women in the quarters, when after she ended her wing date with Jimmy, they asked her, "Have you brought up your daughter to Jimmy yet?" And she's like, "No, I haven't brought up my daughter yet." Strike number 1 through 100, Jessica. Why haven't you told this man you have a daughter? That should have been told off the break the first day you met him. That's how I feel. And it's going to backfire on her, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Okay, so she hasn't told Jimmy she got a daughter yet. So she gets back in the pond with Jimmy, and I noticed when I was looking at Jimmy got a patch of hair. You know how at the barbershop or the hair cuttery or wherever you go, they doing your hair, and maybe the barber sneezes and be like, "Shoo," and they cut a little piece of bald spot into your hair. I noticed Jimmy had one on the side. And I was like, did somebody scalp Jimmy? Like, what is going on with his hair on the side? So on the next date that she had with Jimmy, she met up with him again. She decides that she has to tell Jimmy that she has a 10-year-old daughter, because some conversations can't be had until she reveals to him that she has a 10-year-old daughter. So she goes in the pond and she tells Jimmy she has something to tell him, and she says she has a 10-year-old daughter named Autumn. And Jimmy paused for a minute and he was like, "Let me gather my thoughts. Let me pause," like he did. Okay. Jimmy said, "Why didn't you tell me that earlier?" Same thing that I felt, right? She says that she wanted to feel him out and she didn't want to tell him yet about her daughter. He says it's not a deal breaker. I say he's lying, because as soon as she said he had a daughter, he tried not to make no facial expressions, but he was looking like, no. It's one thing to meet a stranger and fall in love with them at a rapid pace of 10 days. But it's another thing to take in this stranger and now their 10-year-old daughter. Jimmy was out of it. He had checked out at that time, but he wasn't going to admit it, right? Because he was trying to be on his show. She says that her daughter is her best friend and all of that. And every time Jessica talks about her daughter, she tears up or she has an emotional moment. I get it. You're a mama bear. It's understandable. Mamas are like that. But Jessica is too in tune with her daughter. I feel like she shouldn't even come on this show, right? So now we get to Jimmy and Chelsea. They're going on another date. He says his biggest achievement was going to college and graduating college. That is great, Jimmy. I understand what you mean. She says she didn't go to college. This is Chelsea. She says she didn't go to college. She went to a bunch of different trade schools. Beauty school, makeup school, massage therapist, whatever. She went to a bunch of different trade schools. She never really went to college, right? But she says, she landed on being a flight attendant and she's happy with that, I guess. So Chelsea says that she has something to tell Jimmy. I said, Lord, now she got something to tell Jimmy. What is going on? Jimmy probably like, listen, I ain't signed up to get told all this stuff on one day. So Chelsea goes and tells Jimmy that she was married before. I said, oh, wow. At 18 years old, Chelsea got married and Jimmy was just like, wow. She said she got married to her high school sweetheart. She was married to him for 5 years. Okay. Jimmy said her news is news, but he's heard scarier news that same day that's worse. So it's all good. So Chelsea was like, oh my gosh, from me or who? He was like, no, from another date. And he says, I don't want to bring up another date. I'm sorry about that. But he said, listen, Chelsea, your news about being married ain't nothing to what I heard earlier. And he didn't say who it was from, but he said, I've heard scarier news. Let's see. So he pauses a little bit. And he says that, well, we'll see how this goes or whatever. Immediately, Chelsea starts crying. She starts putting on her shoes. She starts crying because she said she was nervous to tell Jimmy that she was married before. And she catches feelings fast and all of this. And Jimmy was like, don't cry. I'm not saying I don't like you anymore. I'm saying the opposite. You shouldn't feel no way. I'm glad you told me. All this stuff trying to reassure her. She's going to be the crybaby of the season. On every one of these reality shows, there's always a crybaby of the season. And Chelsea is going to be that crybaby. I'm telling y'all. When she came back in the women's cold quarter, y'all, and she was up here crying, and all the girls was like, what's going on? What happened? You know, rubbing her back, trying to console her. She says, I told Jimmy I was married, and he paused, and it was just like he feels like he's not into it. Girl, if y'all zoom in and y'all watch the first episode, the Asian girl, when she was telling them that she was crying because she told Jimmy she was married before, the Asian girl was like... I could not stop laughing at the Asian chick because she was just like, girl, what are you? That ain't nothing to cry over. Get over it. So we get to Trevor and Chelsea, the one that was just crying. She has another date. She goes on a date with Trevor, right? The guy, the meathead looking guy that got a mullet. So they have a box of questions and fun little gadgets that the show kind of gave them, I guess, to break the ice. And they go to the question box. Chelsea says she has had 3 serious relationships where she told them that she loved them. And I said, okay, Chelsea. She already said she catch feelings fast. She shares with Trevor that she is married now. So she's trying to get it out the way with all of her connections that she has. She shares with Trevor that she's married, and Trevor is like, okay, you were married when? So she's thinking that she told Trevor she was married. Trevor was like, you never told me you was married. She said, I was married when I was 18 for 5 years and blah, blah, blah. Trevor was like, yeah, you definitely didn't tell me that. Trevor then says he wants something serious with her. And she's just like, and I'm like, ain't this date like number 3 or 4? How do you know that? But anyway, moving on. We get to Amy and Johnny. Y'all remember Johnny is the Caucasian guy and Amy is the Hispanic woman. Johnny comes in the room, and I guess on their last date, they had to make up a song about each other. So Johnny comes in the room and he says, all right, I'm going to let you hear mine. Johnny starts singing this rock and roll song and puts her name in it and stuff. He's like, da 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 da, I love Amy, da da da, we on this show, da 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 da, if love is blind. I'm like, what in the world kind of song? So Amy's sitting over there kind of laughing or whatever, and they having this little day. Cool. Then we get the atmosphere people. If y'all don't know what the atmosphere people, this is what I like to call the extras in the show that didn't make it. They show different people that are not going to be on the show. They showed them on different dates and everything, and they showed them laughing with other people, whatever. That's what I call the atmospheres of the show. Clay and AD, they get back up together. Clay wants to know what AD looks like. Yeah. He asked her, what do you look like? And AD was turned off. She says, this is a show called Love is Blind. If I tell you how I look, that defeats the purpose. I agree with AD. You're supposed to be making a connection with these people based off of their personality. AD says she's not mad. She told Clay, I'm not mad, but she was irritated by him asking that because she's just like, I want someone to like me and love me off my personality and let my body and the way I look be the cherry on top. So then we get up with Matt and AD. That's it for Clay and AD. Matt and AD get back up together. He said he isn't the center of attention at parties. I'm like, duh, man, you don't have no personality. We know nobody will remember you at a party. They might because you got this whole weird Jeffrey Dahmer looking thing about you. So they might remember, oh yeah, the weird guy with the glasses in the corner that looked like he's plotting to eat somebody. So they might remember you because of that. And that's about it. So, what else? He says he's been thinking about AD a lot. Matt said he has a deep connection with her. I said, wow, these people really jump in quick. And I guess because you only got 10 days, you ain't got no choice but to jump in quick. So Matt says that it's either her or nobody. He says the only reason he is on this show is for her. Y'all, Matt is laying on his pimp game thick. I think Matt was in the men's quarter because he always got his book, because they give them all a book to take notes in with their name on it. Matt was probably in the men's quarter like, all right, I'm gonna say this. Okay, I'm gonna say that. Yep, that's gonna get her. Like, he was over there taking notes of what he was gonna say because AD was just eating it all up. I said, girl, bye. What else he said? He then says to her, his greatest accomplishment was finding her. He said after their date, the first date, or the second date, he wanted to call his mom and say he found her. I said, child, you don't know nothing about this woman. How in the world you want to call your mom and say, I done found the one, mom. Get your dress ready for the wedding. He says, what about your dad? You know, because if I want to ask a woman to marry, I want her dad's permission. AD said her dad passed away back in September. Matt says he's so sorry. He really would have liked to ask her dad permission. She says it's cool. Her and her dad wasn't close, so he's not going to think anything about this situation because he asked what her dad thought too. She asks, how important is race and ethnicity? I said, here we go again, AD. See, without him saying I'm a Caucasian male, AD already found that out by asking questions about music genres and then going to say how important is race and ethnicity. Matt says it's not important at all. He says it doesn't matter to him. And he's like, why? And she was like, oh, I'm just asking. Matt wanted to say, well, why? Are you black? Or are you from a different racial group? Like, I want to know. She was like, oh, no big deal. So then Matt goes in and lay on his pimp game some more. And Matt said if she wants to leave, he will leave with her too. He said, are you going to tell anyone what he said to her in the pause? And AD was like, no, I'm just going to simmer in this. Lies. Why? And the reason he asked that, and y'all going to see in a minute, I'm going to tell y'all why. But she know that she's going to go back to the women's quarters and start chatting up about her date. AD says she never dated a white man before because she's assuming he's white. You're not assuming, AD. You know he's white. But she says she's okay with it. When AD leaves, she get back to the women's quarters. She's sitting at a counter. Amber is on one side. Now, Amber is the one that has a connection with Matt, too. So, Amber's on one side, AD's in the middle, and it's another girl that I call Atmosphere because she didn't make the show. Amber tells AD about her date with Matt. She says that Matt said the exact same thing she was saying. Oh, he said if I wanted to leave, he'll leave with me. He wants to ask my dad permission and my hand in marriage if he chose me. All the things he said to AD. AD then had to sit there and listen to Amber say the exact same thing that Matt said to her. AD was furious because but she didn't show it. She kept a poker face. She was like, you know, it's getting really interesting in these conversations. Amber knows that Matt and AD have a connection, right? Because they was told that on the first day. Amber was up in AD face like, yeah, it is getting interesting. I guess we'll see. And I'm like, why is she up in her face like that doing all that? Because she knows that AD and Matt have a connection as well, y'all. And I was just like, boy, the next episode, y'all, is going to knock y'all socks off because AD is going to go and confront Matt about him telling the same thing he told her to Amber. So, y'all, that was episode 1. Okay, that was episode 1. Now, I'm not new to Love is Blind. I've seen Love is Blind before, but this is the first season that I'm going to review because this season is going to be spicy and y'all going to see why. So that was episode 1, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me on the live. Thank you, Miss Mary. Thank you, Jemiah. I think that's how you say your name, Jemiah. Thank you, Miss Olivia. Thank you all for jumping in the live and tuning in with me. And that is my review of Love is Blind. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Replay watchers, what's up, what's What's up? Go ahead and drop in the comments if you have watched Love is Blind, what couple you think is going to make it. I don't think none of these couples going to make it, in my opinion. I think the only couple that has a possibility of making it is Johnny and Amy. That is the Caucasian guy and a Hispanic lady. They seem like they're very genuine. They have a very genuine connection, but I could be wrong. But outside of them, I don't think nobody else is going to make it. I really don't. I just don't. Because Johnny and Amy, I think that they dated other people, but I feel like we only saw them two together the most dating. Like, we didn't see nobody else, and they were the first couple that got engaged too. So I think they have the possibility of longevity. These other couples, they're doomed. They are doomed. So y'all, that's my review. Please like the video before you exit out. Thank y'all for joining me. I will be on again live on tomorrow where we will do episode 2 of Love is Blind, because like I said, today they dropped episode 7. So I'm a little behind in the review, but I'm going to pick up the pace and try to give y'all a review daily so we can get caught up. If you have not watched Love is Blind and you want to, and you have Netflix, go on Netflix, check it out so you can interact with me in the comments. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for joining me for this live. Until we meet again, bye y'all.